In this episode of the Pad Bank, I announce a brand new project. I talk about reusing samples, Jamaica's influence on world music, and I'll review the submissions for the Flip It Challenge 193.
I made it. Produced. I made it. Produced. I cooked up.
Hello and welcome to the Pad Bank with me, Tony Brown, and this is episode number 12. So welcome. I trust you're all well. What a crazy week it has been. As I record this, it's Sunday, the 8th of November, and I've never known such a long-winded, convoluted, complicated process as the American political system. I don't even live in the States, and I was getting anxious because how long does it take to count these votes, man? Like, yo, come on, guys. I don't know much about Biden's political stance, and I don't really care much, to be honest. I was just glad that Trump didn't win. You know what I mean? I'm just putting it out there. I've got no alliance to either the Democratic or the Republican Party at all. Like, I don't know what either of them stand for. I don't know the politics. I'm really not that interested, to be honest. However, I just didn't want Trump to win. And it's got nothing to do with his politics. It's to do with him as a person. You know what I mean? Based on the character that he demonstrated over the time he was in power, his qualities, his behaviours. I was just like, this guy's just not a nice man. He's just not a very nice guy. And I think if America would have voted him back in, it would have said something. It would have sent a message out to the world that you can be a horrible person, a terrible person, and still be in power. So I just wanted to get that off my chest early. Welcome to the show. I'm feeling little bit under the weather today. This episode almost didn't happen. I was meant to do it yesterday, but I got caught up yesterday because I'm working on a new project. And it's done, it's finished. And it's been the quickest, I would say one of the quickest projects I've ever put together. So I've said it in previous episodes. I think if we go back to episode number 9 or 10, where I was saying I was inspired by some stuff I'd been listening to recently, and yeah, man, I've just been down that soulful route. You know what I mean? Just sampling soul stuff, and I kind of made a decision. I'm going to do a project where I'm going to change my style a little bit in terms of I'm not going to go so crazy with the chops. You know, my style over these years has always been find something, chop it up into small little segments and flip it. And sometimes to the detriment of the sample. You know, there's times where I've found something, like even now, I'm going back over old stuff that I sampled, 2-3 years ago, and listening back to it and thinking, wow, I could have just flipped that a little more liberally. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't always have to be chopped into 64 pieces or however many pieces it is, and then, you know what I mean, really flipped. Sometimes it's just the sample alone, you know what I mean, just find a little piece in there and loop it up, and sometimes that's enough. So this new project, it's called Fire in My Soul, and yeah, man, like I said, it came together so quickly. Every beat on that project, so it's an EP. There at the moment, I shortlisted it down to about 10 or 11 tracks yesterday. So yesterday I was doing a shortlisting, so I've got like 10 or 11 in a potential folder, like these ones could potentially make it. And then I spent time last night just going through and just whittling it down. We got down to about 6 to 8 tracks, and then from that I've got four tracks that have stayed on the project, and 3 kind of snippet type tracks where it's just a short little snippet of the beat. But yeah, man, like I said, it's the quickest I've ever pulled a project together. For me, there's times where I'll sit down on a project idea for ages to the point where it ends up not happening. You know what I mean? There's a project I've got inside of me that I started it like in 2016, 2017. The concept's there, you know, some of the beats are there, but I never finished it. And I think the issue was striving for perfection. That was the issue. Where with this, it was a case of just put it out, just do it. You know what I mean? Just do the work and put it out. So all the beats on this project, none of them are older than 3 weeks old. I've made them all it's like they're all from the same batch. You know what I mean? They're all from the same batch of work that I've been doing for the past 2-3 weeks. And I just says, you know what? I'm just putting it out. I'm just doing it. Do a quick mix, and even that, you know what I mean, the barrier sometimes is right. I've got to get these tracks done, get them arranged, export them, get them mixed, and then, you know, it's then making a decision: do I work with a vocalist, do I work with an artist? That then adds another layer of delay and back and forth, which again, for me, that has been one of the biggest barriers to me putting out music, is working with other people and you know, fitting into their schedule. That's just become a barrier. And then from there, getting it mastered, and just the whole process can become long-winded and can be a barrier to putting stuff out. So with this, the whole concept is, it's just raw. It's like, the concept is, I want it to sound like an old cassette that you found in your loft somewhere. That was probably it belonged to your parents, and it's got some old soul music on there. You know what I mean? It just sounds dated, it sounds retro, it sounds vintage, and that's in line with kind of the type of samples that are on there. But yeah, man, I'm excited about it. Like I said, it came together quickly yesterday when I was putting the running order together. I was like, yeah, man, I like this, and then I realized there was one track on there that didn't really fit in, and I just had to sacrifice. I was like, nah, that needs to go. And it felt good knowing that, you know, I've gone from these 10-11 tracks down to these like 7 or 8, then down to 6, and then to sit down and listen to the running order and then identify and say, bam, that one, that needs to come off. Just get it off. So shifted it, rearranged the running order, and then listened back to it, and I was like, yeah, man, that works. It works. So I'm very pleased with it. I'm looking forward to it coming out. I'm excited about it. I'm thinking about doing some physical copies as well. So I've already lined it up to go in the digital platforms. I don't want to announce a release date yet because these distribution platforms, they're inconsistent. So there's times where I've uploaded stuff, they've given me a release date, I've done a marketing campaign, like a social media campaign, all pushing towards this release date, and then boom, the release date comes, the release date goes, and it hasn't been distributed. Or, you know, it's in one store but it's not in another store. So I'm holding fire in terms of announcing the release date, but it's going to be mid to late November. So I would say within the next 3 weeks it should be out. But I'm really thinking about doing some physical copies as well. So I've been searching the web, and again, you guys might be able to help me out actually. Shoot me a message at padbankpodcast@gmail.com, or go to the website and go to the contact page and let me know where's the best place you have found for producing short runs of vinyl. So I've been researching today, trying to find a decent place in Europe as well. You know what I mean? Obviously I'm UK based, so UK or Europe. Where's the best place to get a short run of vinyl? I went on one site today. I put in all the information, all my requirements for the job, and when I got to the end, the price, I was like, wow. And I couldn't see anything on there where it specified the quantity. So I emailed the company. I was like, okay, I've gone through this process. I've seen the price. Can you just confirm, is that for like a minimum run? I assumed it was for like a minimum of like 50 or 100 copies. The guy messaged me back later in the day and he was like, yeah, that's for one copy. I was like, no way. I'm talking, it was like 400 and something pounds for one copy. one copy of a 12-inch vinyl. I was like, yo, that's not going to happen. But then I found another one where it works out. So it's a minimum of 150 pieces. So you got to order a minimum of 150, and it works out to about £15 per copy. So it's something I'm thinking about. I might do like a kind of a Kickstarter kind of thing. So if people are interested in getting a physical copy, you know what I mean, they would have to basically pay up front, go on a waiting list, and then once I've got the 150, or even if I got 100, if I got 100, I'd place the order. What I don't want to do is pay for the 150 and end up having a whole pile of vinyls here. So yeah, just wanted to update you on that. I'm excited about it. Again, I'll be talking about it each episode as we get closer to the release of it. But yeah, man, let's get into the show.
I made it. Produced, I cooked up.
So while I was working on the project, again, I was going through a lot of like rare soul samples, or rare soul records, you know what I mean? Just e-digging, going through a lot of stuff. And what I found was that there's certain tracks that I actually used, you know what I mean? I found a sample, found a section in there, and made a beat. And then as this playlist started coming together, or as this batch of beats started coming together, on one or two of the tracks, I heard another track down the line, like I'm on Spotify, or it's got a playlist on Spotify while I'm at work, and I heard a track or a few tracks using the same sample, and I was just like, oh, no. And it got me thinking, and this is the question I'm putting out there. Is a sample off limits? Like, once someone's used a sample, is it off limits? And my initial response and my gut and the era I'm from, the answer was yes. It was like, the generation I was raised in, it's like biting was unforgivable. It just was not accepted at all, right the way down to, I remember being younger and, you know, a new pair of kicks come out, or, you know what I mean, you go to the sports shop in the city centre and there's a new line of, say, caps or jackets. Whoever gets the cap first or rocks the cap first in your circle, I'm not talking like outside of your circle, but in your circle, whoever gets that cap first or gets that, you know what I mean, whatever that garment is first, whether it be the trainers or whatever, that's it. My man's got them. They're off bounds now. You can't get them. And that's just how it was by us, you know what I mean? And if you did get them, you had to get a different colour, or, you know, risk being tarnished with the brush of being a biter. And that's just a generation I came up in. Same with like DJing, you know what I mean? When I was in the DJ circuit, obviously the records are there to be purchased. However, if I done a certain mix, so let's say I got, you know, track A on one side and track B on the other turntable, and I bring this mix to the dance or to the radio show or to the mixtape, and I mix that with that. That's it. It's done. Anyone else who does that in the DJ circuit, they're labelled a biter. Like, nah, Friction done that first, or, you know what I mean, whoever done it first have done it. If someone does it before you, that's it. It's off limits now. Can't touch it again. Same now, moving into sampling. You know, I can't really talk about rapping. I've never really been a rapper. But that's just straight off the chart. Like, don't even try it. If a man's used a certain punchline or a certain style, don't even try it. That is straight not acceptable. So moving into sampling and production, I always felt like once a man's used a certain sample and he's put it out, or, you know, it's gone public, we know about it, it's off limits. Don't even touch it. How do people feel about that now? Is it the same now in this generation? I remember hearing Jay-Z do PSA, and I was like, nah. Because obviously Black Moon used that sample in exactly the same way with Stay Real. And to me, that was a big tune. You know what I mean? That track was hard. That sample was hard. And then a couple of years down the line now, Jay-Z brings out PSAs using it. It's not even like his, I think it was, I think Just Blaze done it. He hadn't even flipped it differently. It was flipped more or less the same way. And I was like, nah, that's too close, man. That's too close. So, like I said, as I was going through these songs and I got my playlist going in the background and I heard a couple samples, some of the ones I heard, I'd use a different piece. So there was one, it was a track that Westside Gunn had used. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, nah, I've just flipping sampled that. I'd never heard this track before by Westside Gunn. And I was like, nah, I've just used that. But I use a different section. So I've used like a certain part of the song. He's used another part. But it's in a similar vein, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just a straight loop of the sample. So I was like, okay, it's a separate part. I'm using it. I don't business. You know what I mean? I'm using it. That's my interpretation of that track. And then so I posted it in a group, or no, actually I mentioned it on my live stream this weekend. And I was talking about the project and I asked the same question. And someone says, the Flip It Challenge is a good example of how a group of people, multiple people, can use the same sample in different creative ways. And I was like, it's true. It's true. As I go through the Flip It submissions this week, it's likely you're going to hear some similarities because it's the same sample, but all the beats sound different. It's very rare. I've gone through the Flip It Challenge and the beats have sounded the same. It's very rare. Like to say, you know what I mean? There's a clear, almost like a copy claim then, like, oh, my man's beat my man. They sound like separate tracks. It's the same sample, but they've all got their own unique feel and flow to them. So, again, I think it comes down to opinion. You know what I mean? It comes down to opinion and also comes down to how it's used. Again, if it's just like the Stay Real and the PSA example, to me, that would be off bounds. It's like, nah, bro, nah. You know what I mean? Even if in the track, then you show love to the beat miners or, you know what I mean, acknowledge that, yeah, man, them man done it before me, but I'm paying homage. Do you get what I'm saying? If it's done like that, to me, that's acceptable. But if someone's famously used a certain sample or a certain piece and you're going to go and use that exact same piece, I don't know, man. I'm torn. I don't know. As you can hear, I'm still kind of trying to come to a conclusion. But again, I'm interested. What are your thoughts? Hit me up in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube and let me know what do you think. Is once the sample has been used, is it now out of bounds? You can't touch that again. It's done. It's done. What are your thoughts?
I made it. Produced. I cooked up.
All right, so this is going to be probably the third consecutive episode where I mention Busta Rhymes. So obviously he dropped his album last week, and obviously I spoke about it on last week's episode. So also last week he was on the Drink Champs. It's quite a touching interview in terms of when he was speaking about Chris Lighty and the impact of his death. But there was something he said, and it really kind of made me think. I was like, yeah, man, I'm glad he's brought that up because it's a conversation we've had in my circle, even in my home here. We've had this conversation about the Jamaican influence on the world. Yeah, not just music, on the world. That little island in the Caribbean, that small little island, is so influential. It's ridiculous. Whether it comes to music, whether it comes to fashion, whether it comes to food, whatever it might be, they're such a influential nation. And so Busta was talking about, obviously, growing up in a West Indian household. Most of his friends were West Indian, so he's Jamaican, his brethren is Trinidadian, someone else is Bayesian, so his whole circle were kind of from a West Indian background. And he was just saying how that influenced him, like when he was, the way he raps, the way he does his performances, his stage shows, etc., is all influenced by Jamaica. And then he went on to talk about, the birth of hip hop and obviously Kool Herc being Jamaican and bringing the sound system culture to the Bronx, which then birthed hip hop. And as he was talking about it, and this might be a little bit controversial, but I'm cool with it. Do you get what I'm saying? It just made me think. It made me think, does the Bronx overclaim the birth of hip hop? Meaning, Kool Herc could have landed anywhere. He could have landed in Brooklyn. He could have landed in Queens. He could have landed in Harlem. He could have landed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He could have landed in Miami. He could have landed in Atlanta. His parents could have basically moved from Jamaica and moved anywhere. He would have brought that culture with him because that's what he knew. You know what I mean? Coming from Jamaica, he knew about sound system culture, the two turntables, just the whole sound system culture that was part of him. So he brought that with him. So when he introduced that to his neighborhood, you know what I mean? When he strung up his sound in the park and started running tunes, do you get me? He brought the culture. Now, I'm not saying it would have been exactly the same as what it is today, because obviously because of where he was, other elements came off that. So he came out, he strung up his sound, he started running the music in the way he ran the music with the two turntables, the two tracks and whatever. And that then inspired other people in the community to start rapping and MCing over the beats. And then these guys over here started pop locking and breakdancing. So that added another element to the culture. And then these guys over here were doing graffiti, so that added another element. So all these things spun off what he was doing and all came together to, you know, to build what we now know as hip hop culture. But what I'm saying is Jamaica played a huge part in that, a huge part. And sometimes I feel like it gets forgotten that, yes, hip hop was birthed in the parks, in the Bronx, but it came from Jamaica. Like, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that what Kool Herc brought was Jamaican culture. It just so happened that he translated what he knew to his community. So Jamaican culture is crazy influential, you know what I mean? And I want to just salute them, do you get what I'm saying? And give them the props that they are due. Do you get what I'm saying? The amount of, even like nowadays, when I listen to a lot of current music nowadays, especially here in the UK, and then you think about like Afro beats, a lot of what is popping or what has popped in the UK here and become commercially successful, straight Jamaican influence. The flow, you know what I mean, the way the beats are strung together, the production, the language that's used, some of the terminologies, a lot of it is straight. It's influenced by reggae, dancehall. So yeah, man, I just wanted to give them the props they are due. Do you get what I'm saying? Jamaica it's crazy influential. Yo, the fashion, you know, most street fashion. Jamaican people are some of the most stylistic people you'll ever see in your life. You know what I mean? When you go out there and you see like people who they ain't got much, but what they've got, they will rock it with style and pattern. You know what I mean? They will make it look the flyest, crazy creative, flamboyant in the way that, you know what I mean, they'll the way they wear a certain item, the way they'll wear a hat, or, you know what I mean, they'll layer clothes in a certain way where it's like, yo, that is just crazy fly, like crazy creative. I want to know your thoughts. Again, I want to know your thoughts. If Kool Herc would have landed somewhere else, would the culture would the same results have been produced? If he was in the Bronx, if he was in Brooklyn, if he was in Queens, if he was in, you know what I mean, somewhere else, even another state, would the same thing have happened? Imagine if he came to the UK. If he would have came to the UK then, because, you know, enough people migrated Jamaica and came to the UK. So some went to America, some went to the UK, some went to Canada. If he went to Canada, would the same thing have happened? Would we know hip hop as it is today? No one really knows the answer, but it's just something to think about. Salute Jamaica, salute all the Jamaicans. Let's bust one of these.
I made it. Produced, I cooked up.
All right, so The Flip It Challenge 193. So last week's champion was DJ Storm. And as the winner, he got to select the sample for this week. And the sample is Brief Encounters music with a track called Visions. Now, as always, I'll put a link to the sample in a description for you to check that out. I'm not going to play it. As you know, YouTube ain't playing with the copyright strikes. So we have this week 12 entries, which is nice to see. It's nice to see the entries are growing. Again, if you are part of the Padbank community or you do want to get involved in the Flip It Challenge, I encourage you to do so. You know what I mean? It's nice to see the numbers are going up, but we've got a lot of members in the community who don't participate for whatever reason. I encourage you, man, get involved. So let's do this. First up, we have my man MMF. That's your new name, bro. Your name's MMF. And his track is called Visionary. So this is a Flip It Challenge 193. Let's do it.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
All right, so that is MMF. All right, let's just be straight. Let's get straight into it. I don't want to long this out. That wasn't a great listening experience. And again, as always, each week, this is just my opinion. I'm not sitting up here like I'm some, you know what I mean, major executive producer or anything like that. This is just my opinion. You see, music needs to be a pleasurable listening experience. And when that kicked in, you had some auto pan going on. So I got my headphones on. I don't know whether you can hear it or whether that will translate into the podcast, because the podcast goes out mono. Where listening to this in stereo in headphones, that wasn't a great experience, because you've got an auto pan going from one side to the other, and it's across the whole sample. So that literally just threw off my equilibrium. It literally just it made me feel a certain way, like, whoa, almost seasick. You know what I mean? And then also like the rhythm, the pattern, the sequence. Yeah, like it's not a pleasurable listening experience. So I don't know what you're aiming for with this. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all. But like I said, that's just my opinion. And again, I will preface everything I say. I'll preface it with this. I look at these submissions and I look at these tracks that my colleagues are posting. I look at it as it's their artistic expression, so I have no right to tell them how they should express themselves artistically. And I say that all the time. You know what I mean? This is just, I'm just hearing this I'm hearing all these for the first time. And I'm just giving you my raw response. So big up yourself, MMF. Keep them coming. Let's move on. Rob Russ, I See Visions. Let's just turn this back up. Here we go. So this is Rob Ross, I See Visions.
The Pad Bank.
Rob Ross, Rob Ross, Rob Ross, Rob Ross, Rob Ross.
Can I tell a few words to Robert? I got
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
Alright, so that's my man Rob Ross. Big up yourself, Rob. I like this. Much, it's easy on the ear. Much easier to listen to than the previous entry. So taking the co-producer seat or the executive producer seat, the only thing I would be saying with this, if I was in the studio, sat alongside you, you're kicking your snare. Your snare sounds a little bit, I think the word's flammy. Is that a real word? Flammy. Your snare's got some flam on it. I'd probably use a variety of snares, so I'd use like that one sparingly or sporadically, and I would use a tighter one as well. Maybe the same snare but just tighten it up a little bit, just to give it a bit of variation in your sequence. And the same with the kick, I'd probably tighten the kick up a little bit. Wait, man, I like that. Big yourself, Rob.
The Pad Bank.
Alright, next up we have Hell is Chrome. Now I believe Hell is Chrome is a new member. This is his first entry, I believe, because I don't recall seeing you before. So let's check this out. Hell is Chrome. I believe it's called Listen to, what's that say? Listen to Me Now. Here we go.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
Alright, so that was Hell is Chrome. Yeah, man, I like that. I do like that. Getting busy. It's nice to hear people getting busy with the entries. especially because you've only got a short amount of time to submit. So you ain't got time to mess about. You know what I mean? You've literally got like probably 3 days to turn these submissions in. So I like to hear when someone gets busy. You know what I mean? You can tell they just put the work in straight away. There's a lot going on with the sequence. When I say a lot going on, I mean like the variations. Same with the drums. Getting busy with the effects as well, the filters. So yeah, man, I appreciate the amount of time spent on this. If I had one, again, going in the co-producer seat, I can tell you've purposely made it like a lo-fi type sound. You know what I mean? It's got that kind of low-pass filter on it, which I like. I like that. This to me sounds a little bit too muffled, though. That's all I would say. So yes, have that low-pass filter on there. Have that, you know what I mean, that grungy kind of lo-fi sound. What I like to do though is, once I've done that, on my main output, my master output, I will bring up the some of the high frequencies a little bit. So I'll turn my high end up a little bit so it doesn't sound muffled. But yeah, man, nice entry. So big up yourself. So that was Hell is Chrome. All right, moving on. We have my man Flavormatic. So let's get straight into it.
The Pad Bank.
This is called Bansa.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
So that's Flavormatic. There's not much to say about that, really. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, man. I don't need to say much. You know what I mean? Nice flip. I like the variation in the sequence. The drums are knocking. Yeah, man, I like it. Big up yourself, Flavor. I look forward to speaking to you soon. So Flavor's I'm going to be interviewing him. I've got an interview scheduled. So I'm going to be speaking to him in a future episode. So I'm looking forward to that. Big up yourself. All right, next up we have Quadra Gen. So Quadra has won a number of submissions previously. So I'm looking forward to hear what he comes with this week. So this is Quadra Gen. It's his entry to the Flip It Challenge 193, and this is called BEM.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank. The pad bank. The pad bank.
Quadragen. You had me zoning then, bro. You had me zoning then. I like the switch there, man. I like the way you switched out of the regular drum pattern into like a different drum pattern there. I like this. Yeah, man. Yo, this is gonna be a tough round. Again, I appreciate all the entries. This is going to be a tough round, man. Obviously, the winner has already been announced. This was a tough round. So, big up yourself. I got nothing to say. Bro. It's good entry, strong entry. You always come with a nice, solid submission. So, big up yourself. Right, next up, we have Night Rider Beats. Shout out and salute to my fellow UK producers. Night Rider's from a bit further north than where I am. He's from Nottingham. Salute. He's been in the pad bank for a minute, so big up yourself, bro. Let's hear what you brought to the table.
The pad bank.
Are we ready?
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Alright, so that's Night Rider Beats. Yo, this is going to be a tough round. Again, I like it, man. I like it. Nice sequence. You know what? Shout out to who selected the sample last week? DJ Storm. Nice sample selection, brother. You're definitely bringing out fire in people. So big up yourself. The only thing I'll say about this Night Rider is the rim sounds a little bit shallow, a bit hollow. Like the rim shot you've used, it sounds a bit shallow, man, a bit hollow. So I probably would have layered that. Maybe use the same rim shot, but just layer it a little bit, give it a little bit of body. And as I usually say, I probably would have pulled the hats down in the mix a little bit. I don't know what it is, man. I almost like losing my hats. So when I'm mixing my tracks now, I will pull my hats all the way down till I can barely hear them, and then I will just bring them up in the mix till they're clearly but slightly audible. Now that's not for everyone. I'm just telling you what I do, but I like that. Big up yourself, Night Rider. All right, so yeah, man, and just to say as well, it's good to see you back active in the Flip It challenges. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. Right, next up we have, and again I might pronounce this name incorrect, Back Ya Now. He's been involved previously. I haven't seen him for a few weeks, but it's good to have you back. If I've said your name wrong, please hit me up in the group and give me some support in terms of how I should pronounce your name. You know what I mean? Break it down for me. But I think it's back here now. All right, so this is your entry to the Flip It Challenge 193. And before I even get into this, sorry. Again, as you're listening to this, if you're sitting there and thinking, yo, I could do better than that, then, you know what I mean, as I always say, put your money where your mouth is, man. I want to see you get involved. Don't just be a sideline, one of them sideline spectators, you know what I mean? You got all the talk, oh, should have done this and I would have done this. Yeah, man, put your money where your mouth is, man. Let's hear what you've got. Put some skin in the game. All right, back here now. Let's see what you got.
The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank.
All right, so that's my man back here now. Definitely breaking the rules there in terms of, you know, bringing something different to the table. It's definitely the most unique sounding flip so far. It's not really my flavor, not really my style. I'm sure there's someone somewhere in the world who would love this. And that's the thing, you know what I mean, with these flips, it's about unique artistic expression. Do you know what I mean? If this is your thing, just do your thing. You know what I mean? Don't make beats to please me. Don't make beats to please anyone. Just make your music. I think for me, the fact that you chose to lead with that bass line there, that synth sound, not really a fan of it. You had all that sample to play with. It's almost like the sample part is like secondary. Obviously you've used it in the background, but you've manipulated the sample to a point where it just sounds like another synth sound. But yeah, man, yo, you're doing your thing, bro. You're creative, left field, keep at it. So that's back here now. That's his entry. Let's keep it moving. So next up, this is entry number 8, and this is last week's, or the current reigning champion, DJ Storm. And so he's the same guy that picked the sample. So I always say the person that selects a sample, there's more pressure on that person. I feel like, anyway, there's more pressure on that person to bring it because they've chosen a sample. Do you get what I'm saying? So I always think to myself, they've either got, you know what I mean, they've probably got something in mind already, if not something they've already produced. So there's always that added layer of pressure. So DJ Storm, let's go.
The pad bank. The Pad Bank.
DJ Storm. Getting busy with the reverse sample as well. Yeah, man, that was nice. I like that. Yeah, I like this. Big yourself, DJ Storm. Yeah, man. The only thing I would say is I would have liked to have heard the actual sample a little bit louder in the mix. Like your drums are at the front, which is great, you know what I mean? I probably want to hear just a sample a little bit louder. I mean, it might just be the overall volume of the track. It just sounds like the samples getting a little bit drowned out. But yeah, man. This is a tough round. But we got yourself, DJ Storm. All right, next up we have Killer Tame. This is his entry. Let's go.
The Pad Bank.
Listen to me. 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 Listen to me.
The Pad Bank. The Pad Bank.
All right, that's my man, Killer Tame.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
I really like this. I really like this. Hold on 1 second.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Big up yourself, Killer Tame. I like the drums, man. Hold on, let me just go back into it. Yeah, man, I like where the drums sit. This part here. Yeah, man. Almost, I'm holding back saying almost perfect in my ears. You know what I mean? Where the drums sit. Listen to this. Yeah, man, you done a good job here, bro. Definitely done a good job. I'm glad. You know what? I'm so glad I don't have to judge these myself. I'm glad that it's out and open to the community. You know what I mean? Because this week, I mean, we're at what, 9 entries so far. I've heard a solid 4 or 5 that could potentially win. So far, for me, personally, so far, Killer Tame's out in the lead. So let's keep it moving. Next up, we've got the Aviator Gang. B has. So shout out Aviator Gang, and this is their entry to the Flip It Challenge.
It's such fun to do and so easy, like this.
The Pad Bank.
Asthma makes noise. What's new,
The
Asthma?
Pad Bank.
up that granddaddy. What you know about it?
All right, let's stop that there. That was going really well until then. But big up yourself, Aviator Gang. So my initial feedback before the acapella came in was about to be, this is hard.
What's new, Hasbro?
Like, judging this competition right now is getting very difficult. This is another one that's in that batch of potential winners. The only thing I would say with this is the drum sound a little bit like there's a phase on them or something. I don't know what's going on. So the hats and the snare and the that open hat as well, they sound like they're phasing. I don't know how you've mixed it or what you've put on it. It might just be some reverb you've got on there or something, but I would lose some of that, man. But yeah, man, I like this. I like this a lot. You know what I'd say as well? You see, like, the sample. So, again, salute to DJ Storm. The sample is basically in line with what I've been working on for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that's why it's hitting me how it's hitting me. It's just... it's that soul, man. It's that soul. But yo, listen. Aviator Gang. You see this here? You see if you're going to bring in an acapella, it has to be bang on, man. Like, this is... it sounds like you brought it in by mistake. It sounds like it's got nothing to do with the track. You know, like, I don't... So, coming from the DJ circuit, and salute my brethren, Selector Hype, you're gonna definitely bear witness to this. There's certain DJs, yeah, who they'd be on the radio or they'd be playing a set and they would forget that they've got the fader up and they're queuing up something in their headphones and it's actually coming through the speakers or coming through the basically it's broadcasting live, you know what I mean? Everyone else can hear it. They think only they can hear it in the headphones. That's what this sounds like. It sounds like that's coming by mistake, you know what I mean? Like, you just... what you know about it? I'm driving in the exotic. What you know about it? I pull up my car. Yeah, that don't work, man. That don't work. Get rid of that. So yeah, man, if you're gonna use acapellas, if you're gonna use you know, any vocals, they gotta be tight, man. They got to be tight. And I always feel like, and again I've said this before, I feel like when people use acapellas in the Flip It challenge, it's almost like a little bit of a cheat. So yeah, I don't really like it. And that's not what the challenge is about. The challenge is about flipping the sample, use what you've got. So yeah, man. Well, big up yourself, Aviator Gang. I appreciate the entry. Next up, we've got my man Richard Tarrin. So let's get straight into it. This is These Visions. No, it's not. Here we go.
The pad bank. The pad bank.
Nice entry. Let's just flip back into it. Definitely a nice entry. Yo, the bar's been raised this week. Again, the only thing I would say with this, I'll pull the hats down a little bit, man. Again, I feel like I'm just repeating myself. Again, it's just my preference. When you got a nice, strong musical sample like this, let the sample dominate. I like the pattern with the hi-hats and the shaker. I like it, but I would just pull it down a little bit, man. But yeah, man, I like this. Big up yourself, Richard. I'm glad I didn't have to judge this week's round. All right, so last but not least, we've got my man Beats by Beats. Again, appreciate the consistency, brother. And all of you, you know what I mean, all the entries that have been submitting week in, week out, I really value and appreciate the consistency. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. And I trust and I hope that this competition is helping you to become better producers, because that's the whole aim of the Flip It Challenge. You know what I mean? It's about giving you something to work with on a consistent basis, forcing your hand in terms of listening to the sample and submitting within a short period of time. So hopefully everyone who gets involved and has been involved, you know what I mean, you all get something from doing this. So last but not least, Beats by Beats, let's go.
The pad bank. The pad bank. The pad bank.
All right, so that's Beats by Beats. Again, kind of left field, lo-fi, kind of an alternative type of beat. Again, not really something I would be drawn to, but I'm sure in this world, this is someone's thing. So yeah, man, I appreciate the entry. Big up yourself, Beats by Beats. Again, I'm beginning to see a pattern, you know what I mean? You're definitely into breaking the rules, you know what I mean? Can see that. So I appreciate you, man. Keep it up. Keep them coming. So, that's all of the entries. Let's give everyone a round of applause.
The pad bank.
And the winner, this week's winner, was actually let me just double check before I announce it. I believe this week's winner was let's have a quick look. 1 second. Yeah, I knew it. Flavormatic. So big up yourself, Flavormatic again. Round of applause, Flavormatic. Make some noise. And again, shout out to everyone who entered. Yeah, man, definitely a worthy winner. Me personally, Killer Tame would have got my vote. And you know what? I need to actually Apologise. I was so consumed this week. I had a mad busy week. I didn't even cast a vote. This is the first I'm hearing all these entries. So if there was one vote in it, forgive me, my vote would have gone to Killer Tame. But it's definitely a worthy winner.
The Pad Bank.
And I will be speaking to the winner, Flavormatic, this week. So next week's episode will likely include an interview with Flavormatic, as long as everything comes together this week. I've also got another interview lined up with a pretty well-known New York-based MC who I'm scheduled to speak to again this week, so I'm looking forward to that. So we've got a few interviews lined up. I know I've been saying it week in, week out, but they are coming, man. You know what I mean? It's just trying to fit into everyone's schedule. So I'm looking forward to that. So the MC I've got lined up, he has worked with some of my favourite MCs of all time. He was responsible for one of my favourite underground hip-hop tracks of all time, on one of my favourite underground hip-hop albums of all time. So I'm excited. But man, big up yourselves. I appreciate if you've stayed with me this far. I appreciate it. If it's your first time listening or your first time watching, if you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on any podcast streaming platform, please like, subscribe, rate, review, do all that good stuff, because it really helps with the algorithm, and it helps us get found and discovered by other like-minded listeners. So yeah, man, if you like it, show me you like it, man. Drop a little like or a review or something. And then, as I said, if you was listening to the Flip It Challenge and you were sitting there thinking, yo, I could have won that, bring it on. Just go over to thepadbank.com and just join the community, and yeah, man, put some skin in the game, you know what I mean? Put some meat on the bone, put your money where your mouth is, and any other analogy you want to use. So yes, appreciate you all, man. The Padbank family, Padbank community. Do me a favor, just share with someone who you know might enjoy this content. You know, I'm going to shoot them a quick link, whether it be to the YouTube video, whether it be to the website itself. Just, you know what I mean, drop someone a little message in Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, and just say, yo, check out this podcast, man. I think you'll like this. I would really appreciate that. But in the meantime, make sure you stay safe, you stay sane, stay healthy. We're living in unprecedented times right now. So big up yourselves. And I'll see you again in the next episode. All the best. God bless and take care.
I made it. I made it. I made it. I produced. I made it. I made it. I made it. Produced. I cooked up.